If you think the animal kingdom is a peaceful place, this story will change your mind fast. Out here, life can feel a little like a poker game played with claws and teeth, where the stakes are as high as they get. One wrong move, one noisy step, and dinner can turn into danger in the blink of an eye. Welcome to the Serengeti, where every sunrise brings fresh chances and fresh trouble, all under that wide African sky. We'll watch hunters wait, prey bolt, and whole families fight to survive another day. It's beautiful, but it's never soft. If you're watching from home, say hello in the comments and tell us where you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you before we head out into the grass. Imagine standing knee-deep in warm water and the whole river seems to breathe around you. The surface ripples, a low grunt rolls out across the dark water. Then, just beyond the reeds, a huge shape rises like a moving boulder. This is the kind of animal that makes people step back without even meaning to. Hippopotamuses live in the rivers and wetlands of Africa, where they spend the day in water and come ashore at night to feed. They may look slow and sleepy, but they are among the most dangerous animals in their world, and even crocodiles give them room. In the dry season, when water shrinks and temperatures rise, their presence can mean the difference between a peaceful crossing and a deadly mistake. To live near a hippo is to know that one wrong move can change everything. Hippos are built like armored tanks, with barrel-shaped bodies, short legs, and enormous mouths that can open wider than you might expect. A grown hippo can weigh as much as several cars, yet it moves with surprising force in water. Its skin is thick and nearly hairless, with a grey-brown look that blends into muddy banks and shaded pools. From a distance, that bulky body may seem almost comical, like something half made of stone and half made of muscle. But the closer you get, the clearer the message becomes. This animal is all power. Those giant jaws are not for show. They carry long canine teeth that can clash with frightening strength, and they are used to defend territory, calves, and space in the water. A hippo's eyes, ears, and nostrils sit high on the head, which lets it stay mostly submerged while still watching the world above. That little design is perfect for a life spent half in the water and half on land. During the heat of the day, hippos rest in pools and channels, packed close together. They look calm, almost lazy, while fish dart past and birds pick through the shallows nearby. But do not mistake that stillness for softness. Hippos are busy animals in their own way. When evening comes, they leave the water and head out to graze on grass, often traveling a few miles to find enough food. They usually feed alone along the banks, pulling up short grass with tough lips and powerful teeth. The real danger is never far away, because hippos share these waterways with other hungry animals, and each one knows the same narrow channels may soon run low. A hippo's day is shaped by water, heat, and the constant need to guard space. In places where rivers dry up, the remaining pools become crowded, and the tension can be felt in every snort and splash. Males often hold sections of river and defend them from rivals with loud displays, open jaws, and deep booming calls that carry across the water. Females are no less watchful when calves are nearby. Young hippos stay close to their mothers, tucked safely in the shelter of the pod. The group itself can seem gentle from a distance, with several bodies drifting together like logs in a slow current, but there is always awareness underneath that calm. Hippos talk to one another with grunts, wheezes, and body movements both in and out of the water. A quick turn, a lifted head, a splash of warning. These small signals matter. They help the animals stay together, keep order, and avoid the kind of mistake that can lead to injury. And because hippos depend so heavily on wetlands, they are closely tied to the health of the river itself. They open paths in thick vegetation, move nutrients between land and water, and help shape the life of the banks they use every day. In many places, though, their homes are under pressure from human activity, from shrinking waterways to conflict near farms and settlements. Protecting rivers and wetlands helps hippos, but it also helps countless other animals that share the same water. Now picture a late afternoon at a drying river bend. The sun is dropping low. Buffalo gather at the edge to drink. Birds are lifting from the reeds. Then the water bulges. A hippo surfaces with a blast of breath and a snort that sounds almost like a warning bell. The buffalo freeze. One calf edges too close. Ripples spread fast. From the far bank, another hippo answers with a deep grunt, and the whole pool feels suddenly smaller. No one is relaxed now. The buffalo step back. The birds rise higher. Even the crocodiles, silent and yellow-eyed, keep their distance. For a few long moments, the river belongs to the hippos, and everyone else knows it. Then, just as quickly, the tension eases. The animals settle, the water smooths out, and the river goes on, carrying the memory of power just beneath the surface. The first warning is a sound you feel in your bones. A rough, laughing call rolls across the dark, followed by the smell of old blood on the breeze. Out on the open Serengeti, that is enough to make every ear turn. Then, from the dusty grass, a shape moves closer, and the whole mood of the night changes. This is the spotted hyena, one of the most misunderstood hunters on the plains, and one of the toughest. It lives in clans that can number more than 20, and those numbers give it real power. Spotted hyenas roam the Serengeti and other parts of Africa, always watching, always listening, always ready for a chance meal or a fight. At first glance, they can seem rough and awkward. But there is a lot more here than meets the eye. Look closely and you find a body built for endurance, a mind built for teamwork, and jaws strong enough to crack into bones that other animals leave behind. The coat is a dirty gold base covered in dark spots, like a coat splashed with ink. The shoulders rise higher than the hips, giving the body a sloping shape that makes them easy to recognize. That uneven build is not a flaw. It helps them run for long distances and keep going when others begin to tire. Their head is broad and powerful, with rounded ears always twitching at sound. The muzzle is dark, the eyes alert, and the mouth can open wide in that eerie grin that has frightened so many people. But the grin is not a joke, it is part of a face built for hard living. Their front legs are especially strong, made for gripping and pulling, while the back legs give them speed when they need it most. Up close, the fur is coarse and dusty, as if the savannah itself has clung to them. Spotted hyenas spend their days and nights moving through a world of constant hunger. They do not waste time. They travel huge distances, sometimes alone, sometimes with the clan, searching for anything they can eat. That might mean fresh kills left by lions, but it can also mean zebras, gazelles, warthogs, birds, eggs, or even bones picked clean after the main meal is gone. Nothing goes to waste for a hyena. Their teeth and digestive system are built to handle a surprising range of food, and that makes them some of the most adaptable survivors on the plains. They are not lazy scavengers waiting in the shadows, the way many people imagine. They hunt for themselves too, and often with real skill. A clan can spread out, pressure prey, and wear it down through persistence. They know when to test a rival and when to back off. They know how to take advantage of a mistake. In a place where every meal is earned, that kind of flexibility matters. A spotted hyena's day is shaped by what food is available, where danger lies, and which voices it hears from the clan. Family is everything to these animals, and that family has a strict order. Females are larger, stronger, and higher in rank than males. A young female may carry her mother's status with her as she grows, while males usually leave their birth clan and try to join another one. The cubs grow up in dens, hidden away where they are safe from heat and from enemies. When they are young, they drink milk for a long time, and they also learn by watching. They learn who to greet first, when to stand back, and when to push forward. They call to one another with whoops, grunts, and that famous laugh, but the sound is more than noise. It helps the clan stay connected over long distances and lets others know who is nearby. In a landscape like the Serengeti, that matters. A call in the dark can mean the difference between a meal and a loss. And here is the thing about hyenas. They hold the system together in their own rough way. By cleaning up carcasses, they help stop disease from spreading. By hunting and taking weak or young animals, they help shape the health of herds. They are part of the constant turnover of life and death on the plains, and they are built for it better than most. They may not get the same respect as lions, but they are every bit as important. Without them, the remains of the hunt would linger. The night would smell different. The balance would shift. There is something almost electric about seeing a clan close in on a carcass. The air feels tense. The lions lower their heads. The hyenas edge forward. One wrong move, and the whole scene can explode in a flash of teeth and dust. Then, as quickly as it began, the contest settles again, and the oldest law of the savannah is left standing. Survive if you can, and keep moving if you must. What surprises people most is not the teeth or the armored back. It is how still this animal can be. In the heat of the day, the water may look empty. Then, without a splash or a warning, those eyes break the surface and the whole river seems to change. This is the crocodile, the patient hunter of African waters. It lives in rivers, marshes, and muddy pools across the Serengeti and beyond. Its body is built for waiting, for drifting like a log, for holding its breath until the right moment comes. And when that moment arrives, the strike is fast. A crocodile's skin is thick and rough, like a coat of old leather covered in hard scales. Its long jaws are lined with sharp teeth made for gripping, not chewing. The eyes sit high on the head, so it can watch the world while most of its body stays hidden below the surface. That design tells you everything you need to know. This animal spends much of its day doing very little, and that is exactly how it survives. It often rests in the water with only its nostrils and eyes exposed, soaking up warmth while keeping cool enough to move when needed. When fish, birds, or an unwary antelope come close to the bank, the crocodile may lunge with shocking speed. It can also feed on carrion, taking advantage of whatever the river gives up. Its life is built around patience and efficiency. No wasted motion, no wasted energy. Even its body is made for this quiet way of living, with a tail that can drive it forward in a sudden burst and feet that help it steer through mud and shallows. Crocodiles often gather in groups where the water is good, but they are not friendly in the way people might imagine. They are simply sharing the same narrow home. Young crocodiles stay close to safer shallows, where their size still leaves them open to danger. Mothers guard the nest and help the hatchlings reach water, and for a while the little ones stay near her protection. It is a hard start to life. Many never make it, but those that do grow into one of the most enduring hunters on the continent. They matter because they help keep river life in check. They remove the weak, the sick, and the careless. They also help shape the places they live in, leaving scraps for other animals and keeping the water world active with movement and risk. In some areas, crocodiles face trouble from habitat loss and conflict with people. Yet protected rivers and careful management have helped many populations hold on. When the sun drops low and the river turns silver, the crocodile is still there, half hidden, watching. It reminds us that in the African water, silence can be the start of the most dramatic story of all. You might expect a desert to be silent and empty, but out here, the air can carry the low rumble of a distant elephant, the scratch of dry grass in the wind, and the sudden tap of a lizard darting over stone. Damaraland in northwestern Namibia is a land of open space and hard beauty, where red earth, pale rock, and thorny scrub stretch for miles under a wide sky. It feels raw and honest, like the land has nothing to hide. Rain is scarce, shade is rare, and every living thing has to make do with less. Yet this harsh country still holds desert elephants, black rhinos, puff adders, and many other survivors that have learned how to live with very little and watch for danger in every direction. The grass goes quiet first, not dead quiet, just that hushed kind of stillness that makes every small sound feel larger than it should. A faint rustle, the soft tick of dry stems. Then, under the heat and the pale sky of the Serengeti, a shape moves almost without moving at all. That is how the hunt begins here, not with noise, but with patience. This is the lioness, one of the most skilled hunters on the plains, and she lives with her pride across open grassland, woodlands, and the dry country where every advantage matters. What makes her stand out is not just strength. It is timing. It is teamwork. It is the way she can turn a field of swaying grass into a trap before her prey even knows she is there. She wears the coat of the earth itself, golden and simple at first glance, but built for life in a place where one careless step can mean the end. Up close, her body is all power under control. Her shoulders are broad, her legs are strong, her face is calm, almost sleepy-looking, until that focus sharpens into something hard and exact. Her coat is short and tawny, with a pale belly and round ears that flick at every sound. There is no mane on her, of course. That belongs to the males. The lioness carries a different kind of power, leaner, quieter, faster. Her whole shape feels made for bursts of action. Even her paws seem to land with care, as if the ground itself might give her away. And then there are those eyes. Steady, yellow gold, always watching. She can lie low in the grass for long stretches, blending into the dry color of the plain so well that only a blink or the twitch of a tail gives her away. When she stands, her muscles roll beneath her skin like ropes under a thin cloth. She looks simple, almost plain, but that plainness is part of the trick. On this open land, the best hunter is often the one you do not notice until it is too late. The lioness spends much of her day resting, saving energy for the work that matters. That is a smart choice in a place where heat can drain strength fast. She may rise in the cool hours of morning or evening, when shadows grow long and the air softens a little. Then she begins to move with purpose. A lioness does not waste steps. She may patrol with the pride, scent marking the area, listening for alarm calls, watching the herd animals spread out to feed. She hunts many kinds of prey, and she usually depends on stealth, not long chases. Her body is built for the final rush, not for hours of running. So she uses the grass, the wind, the shape of the land, and the help of the other lionesses around her. One may circle wide, another may crouch ahead, another waits and holds still. It is a quiet kind of coordination, but it works. And when the moment comes, it comes fast. A lioness can go from stone still to full speed in a heartbeat. Then the air changes, the grass parts, hooves strike the ground, the hunt turns into a blur of dust and sound. Still, most of her life is not spent in that split second. It is spent waiting, watching, and choosing the right moment. In that way, she is more like a careful farmer than a frantic chaser. She invests patience now for food later. Family life matters just as much to a lioness as the hunt does. Lionesses usually live in prides, and that is a big part of their success. They are often related, mothers and daughters and sisters staying together for years. That bond gives them an edge. They raise cubs as a group, nurse them, guard them, and help keep them safe. In a pride, cubs do not belong to just one mother. They belong to the whole family. That shared care makes a difference when danger is always nearby. Cubs learn by watching. They practice pouncing on tails, ears, and each other's legs. They shadow the adults, trying to understand the rules of the hunt. The pride also gives lionesses a way to defend what they catch. Food can bring trouble as easily as hunger. When a kill is made, there may be others nearby who want to share. A pride must be ready to stand its ground. The lioness is both hunter and guardian, and those two roles often happen on the same day. Why does she matter so much? Because she helps shape the life around her. As a top hunter, she keeps many herbivore populations in check, which helps prevent overgrazing and keeps the plain from being stripped bare. Her hunts also provide food for scavengers when leftovers are left behind. Nothing in this landscape goes to waste for long, and yet the lioness herself is under pressure in many places. Habitat loss, shrinking prey numbers, and conflict with people have made life harder for lions across Africa. Protected areas and conservation work are helping in some regions, and that gives hope. There is still room for these cats when people choose to share the land wisely. And maybe that is the real lesson here. Strength is not only in speed or teeth, it is in patience, teamwork, and knowing when to move. In the Serengeti, the lioness carries all of that with her every day. Watch long enough, and you begin to understand that silence on the plains is never empty. A giraffe can hear danger before it even shows itself, and from far across the plain, it can spot a moving shape that would be hidden from almost every other animal. That kind of advantage matters out here. The Serengeti never offers much peace for long. One careful glance from those long-lashed eyes can mean the difference between a safe meal and a deadly mistake. Giraffes live in the open grasslands and scattered acacia country of eastern Africa, where they move with slow grace and constant caution. They are the tallest land animals on Earth, built like living watchtowers, and that height changes everything. Up among the thorny branches, the world is theirs to scan and to share. They spend much of the day feeding, watching, and staying just a little ahead of trouble. The body is so familiar that it almost feels invented by hand. Long legs, a neck that seems to go on forever, a coat marked with bold patches, each one different from the next. But there is nothing made up about this design. Every part has a job. Those long legs carry a giraffe over rough ground with surprising ease, and they can even step through muddy patches that might trap a young buffalo. The neck lifts the head above the thicket, where the best leaves are waiting. And the tongue is a marvel all on its own. It is long, flexible, and strong enough to reach around sharp thorns while pulling down fresh green bites from the highest branches. Their skin pattern helps break up their outline in the dappled light, and that can be a lifesaver when lions are somewhere nearby. Even their size works as armor of a sort. A healthy adult giraffe is not easy prey. A kick from one of those legs can be brutal. So can the simple fact that they see trouble early and rarely waste time. Giraffes do not rush through life, they drift through it. But that does not mean they are idle. Much of the day is spent eating. They browse on leaves, buds, and young shoots, picking carefully and moving from tree to tree as the sun climbs. In dry country, that matters. Food can be patchy, and a giraffe has to keep moving to find it. A mother may guide her calf through the thorn scrub, pausing often to feed while still keeping one eye on the open ground. And because they are so tall, giraffes can reach food. Others cannot, which helps them avoid too much competition with lower grazers. They are especially good at making the most of what is high and hard to reach. Their calm rhythm hides how alert they really are. They may look relaxed, but every turn of the head is part of a quiet scan of the landscape. In a place like this, even feeding is a careful choice. Family life for giraffes has its own gentle strength. They are often seen in loose groups, not tight packs, but there is still a sense of company and shared safety. Calves stay close to their mothers early on, learning the land one step at a time. A young giraffe has to grow fast because standing tall does not make it safe from lions, hyenas, or other hunters that wait in the grass. Mothers are watchful and patient. They use their height to keep an eye on their young and the land around them at the same time. Giraffes also communicate in quiet ways that are easy to miss. A shift in posture, a turn of the ears, the way one animal suddenly starts moving. It all tells a story. They may not be noisy, but they are never out of touch with what the group is doing. And when danger does come, that calm, alert way of life can save a calf's life. Giraffes matter because they help shape the landscape they live in. By browsing on leaves and shoots, they affect which plants grow and how bushy an area becomes. That changes the whole scene for other animals, from tiny insects to big grazers that follow behind. They are also part of the food chain in a very direct way, giving large hunters a challenge that is never easy. In many places, giraffes still face pressure from habitat loss and human activity. But protected areas and better awareness are helping in some regions, and that gives hope. A giraffe's life may seem peaceful from a distance, but it is built on survival every single day. And maybe that is what makes them so special. They show us that quiet strength can be just as powerful as speed or teeth. Then, just as the light begins to soften, the plain changes. The wind drops, the grass goes still, and the tallest watcher on the horizon keeps guard as if it knows the whole story of the savannah depends on one more careful moment. Have you ever walked through dry grass and felt that little prickle at the back of your neck, like something is watching you from just out of sight? Out here, that feeling can mean you are only a few steps from danger. Quiet as a dropped glove, the puff adder waits among the stones and scrub, and most of the time, nobody sees it until it moves. This snake lives across much of Africa, and it has one of the most dangerous bites on the continent. Yet it does not chase trouble. It simply lies still and trusts its camouflage, which is often enough. The puff adder is built for patience, for surprise, and for surviving in places where one careless step can change everything. At first glance, it may seem like just another snake on the ground. Look closer and you see a master of ambush. The grass shifts first. Not much, just enough to make you look twice. Then a snort cuts through the dry air, low and nervous, and a small brown shape hustles out from the ochre stems with surprising speed. In the Serengeti, even a casual search for roots can turn into a race for life. This is where a warthog family lives, always alert, always on the edge, and never as clumsy as it first appears. Warthogs roam the open plains of East Africa, and they are built for a hard country where danger can come from any direction. What makes them stand out? Those curved tusks, the bristly mane, and a habit of dropping to their knees to graze. They look a bit like they were assembled from spare parts, but every piece has a job. Their body is low and sturdy, almost barrel-shaped, with a big head and a flat snout made for digging. The face is not exactly charming at first glance, with warts that give them their name and small eyes set high enough to watch for trouble while feeding. Their tail sticks up like a little flag when they run, and that helps the young keep track of each other in the grass. A warthog spends a huge part of its day searching. Roots, bulbs, grasses, fallen fruit. Nothing fancy, just enough to get through another hot afternoon. They are not picky, and that flexibility helps them survive when the land turns dry. You will often see them trot to a feeding spot, stop, kneel down, and work the ground with that tough snout. It is a practical life, no wasted motion. And yet there is always one eye on the horizon. That is because warthogs do not truly relax. While one feeds, another may lift its head and listen. If danger comes, they can bolt in a flash, and that quick burst of speed matters more than their odd shape would suggest. When a mother has young, family life becomes even more serious. Warthogs usually live in groups, especially mothers with piglets, and they rely on one another for safety. The little ones stay close, often trailing behind in a neat line through the grass. If alarm spreads, the whole family vanishes into cover or charges toward a burrow, sometimes backing in tail first so they can keep their tusks pointed out toward anything following them. That is a smart trick in a place filled with hunters. They also communicate in grunts, squeals, and sudden snorts that carry across the plain. Simple sounds, clear meanings: go, wait, danger, stay near. Those signals can mean the difference between making it through the day or becoming someone else's meal. And that is what makes the warthog so important here. It is not just a small browser trying to survive. It is part of the daily rhythm of the Serengeti, turning plants into food for larger animals and helping keep the landscape moving. Their digging loosens the soil, their feeding clears patches in the grass. Even their alarm calls can ripple through the plain, warning other animals that something is wrong. In a land where every footstep matters, the warthog is both cautious and brave. It knows the rules of this place, and it lives by them. Then comes the shift. 1 second the family is feeding in peace, and the next the air changes. The lions have already moved in. Hidden in the dry grass, they are almost invisible until the moment they rise. The warthogs hear it late. A sharp cry breaks the silence. The piglets scatter. The adults sprint, tusks flashing, hooves drumming hard against the dust. But the circle is closing. The lionesses move with quiet power, faster than they look, and one of them surges forward in a sudden burst. There is no time for the warthogs to think, only run, dodge, and try to reach safety. Dust hangs in the heat. The plain feels very small all of a sudden. Then, just as quickly, the chase is over, and the hard truth of the Serengeti settles back in. Life here is never guaranteed. It is earned, step by step, under the sun. Have you ever looked out at a wide open plain and wondered how anything at all manages to survive there? The Serengeti stretches under a hot sky in long waves of gold and dusty brown, with grass rippling in the wind like the surface of a dry lake. The air carries the smell of sun-baked earth, crushed stalks, and distant rain that may or may not come. In the morning, you can hear birds calling, insects buzzing, and the steady movement of hooves somewhere beyond the hills. This is a land of big animals and big risks. Warthogs root in the grass, lionesses wait in the shadows, hyenas circle the edges, and tall giraffes keep watch above the thorns. Every step matters here, and every sound can mean life or death. A desert elephant can go more than a week without a drink, and that fact alone tells you how tough life is here. In the dry country of Damaraland, where the land seems to hold its breath under a hard blue sky, these giants move like slow shadows between stone and sand. They are not just surviving in the desert, they are making a living in one of the harshest places on Earth. Today we are meeting the desert elephant, a special group of African elephants that have learned to live with very little water and a lot of heat. Stay with us, because what they eat, how they travel, and how they care for their young may surprise you. If you're enjoying the journey, say hello in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. From a distance, a desert elephant can look almost like a moving hill. Up close, though, every part of it seems built for this rough country. The ears are large, though they may not seem as oversized as some people expect, and they act like big fans in the heat. The body is broad and strong, covered in thick grey skin that wrinkles like old tree bark. Long legs carry a lot of weight over ground that can be hard and dry in one place, soft and dusty in another. The trunk is the real tool of the trade. It is used like a hand, a nose, and a drinking straw all at once, and those tusks can help dig for water when the dry season bites hard. These elephants spend much of their day on the move, traveling from one feeding spot to another and following old routes that can run through open desert, rocky hills, and dry riverbeds. They eat a wide range of plants, from grasses and leaves to bark, roots, fruit, and the tough, thorny brush other animals might pass by. In a place where food is scattered, they have to keep moving and keep searching. That takes memory. A good one. Older elephants often remember where water hides after the rains are gone, and the whole family may depend on that knowledge. They can strip bark from trees, pull up roots, and use their trunks to reach into places that seem out of reach. Every bite matters. Every step matters. Desert elephants do not live alone if they can help it. They move in family groups, usually led by an experienced female who knows the land well. The young stay close, tucked between adults when danger feels near. Calves are watched carefully because a dry riverbed can still hold danger, and a tired youngster can quickly fall behind. Elephants talk to one another in low rumbles that travel through the ground and through the air. They touch with their trunks, they nudge, they gather tightly when needed, almost like a family huddling against the world. That bond is part of their strength. In the desert, being together is not just comforting, it can be life-saving. The desert elephant matters because it helps shape the land around it. When it feeds, it opens paths through thick brush. When it digs for water, other animals may benefit too. Birds, antelope, and smaller creatures can make use of those water holes. In that way, one elephant family can help many neighbors through the hardest months. But these animals face real pressure from people, especially when water sources are scarce and land is crowded. Fences, farms, and changing weather can make their long routes harder to follow. Still, there is hope. In parts of Namibia, local protection and careful wildlife management have helped keep these elephants on the land they know best. Then comes the hard part. Late afternoon. The heat is easing, but only a little. A small herd moves through a dry valley, each step slow and deliberate. Dust hangs in the air. A calf stays tucked close to its mother. Ahead, another animal is already there, drinking at a shallow pool. For a moment, everyone shares the same fragile piece. Then the wind shifts. The elephants lift their heads. A few birds burst from a nearby tree. The biggest one steps forward, testing the ground with its trunk. Not every meeting in the desert ends in trouble, but every meeting matters. Out here, water is life, and life is never far from the edge. And still these elephants keep going, steady as the hills, carrying the memory of rain in a land that never forgets drought. Have you ever felt like you were being watched from a place you could barely see? In the hush of thorn scrub and dry grass, a pair of ears can rise like little horns, then vanish again before you are sure they were there at all. A shadow moves. A bird startles. Then the moment is gone. This is the kind of quiet, sudden world where a caracal makes a living. The caracal lives across parts of Africa and Asia, usually in open country, scrub, and dry woodland. It is famous for its long black ear tufts and its ability to leap with shocking power. Small in size compared with the big cats, it still carries the air of a hunter that never wastes a movement. On hot ground and in fading light, it goes where patience pays off. If you're enjoying the journey, drop a hello in the comments. The caracal, often called the desert lynx, is built for speed, silence, and surprise. At first glance, it has the smooth, sleek body of a house cat stretched into a wild, muscular frame. But then you notice the legs, long and springy, made for sudden bursts and high leaps. The coat is usually a rich tawny or reddish gold, like sun-baked earth. That color helps it blend into grass and brush so well that you may spot the eyes before you notice the body. And those ears are hard to forget. The black tufts on top stand straight up like tiny brushes, giving the caracal a sharp, alert look. Scientists are still not completely sure what those tufts do, but they may help with communication or even with picking up sounds. The face is neat and focused, with pale markings around the eyes and muzzle. Every part of this cat seems made for a life of quick decisions. The caracal spends much of its time alone, moving through its territory with a kind of calm purpose. It is most active at dawn and dusk, when the heat eases and small animals start to stir. Birds, rodents, and hares are all on the menu, and the caracal has a special gift for catching birds in the air. It can spring upward with such force that it seems to hang for a brief second before coming down with its paws outstretched. That leap is not just for show, it is a hunting tool, and a very good one. On the ground, it moves with a low, careful walk, saving energy and staying hidden until the right moment. Then, in a flash, it can explode forward. It does not chase forever, it trusts its timing. That is one reason this cat survives in places where food can be hard to find and cover may be thin. Family life is usually quiet for the caracal. Adults mostly keep to themselves, except when a mother is raising kittens or when a male and female come together for breeding. A mother caracal chooses a hidden den, often in thick brush, rocky ground, or an old burrow where the young can stay safe. The kittens are born small and helpless, with closed eyes at first, and they depend fully on their mother. She nurses them, guards them, and teaches them little by little how to move through the world. As they grow, they begin to practice stalking, pouncing, and testing their legs. A young caracal has to learn fast. In a place full of larger hunters and bigger dangers, hesitation can be costly. The mother stays close until the kittens are ready to manage on their own. For a cat that spends so much time alone, that short family bond is everything. The caracal matters because it helps keep smaller animal numbers in check. By hunting rodents and other prey, it plays its part in the food web and helps keep the land from being overrun by any one species. It also has a special place in dry regions where every hunter matters and every meal is hard won. In some places, caracals lose ground as habitat is cleared, or as people come into conflict with wildlife. But they are still holding on in many areas, thanks to protected land and a better understanding of how these cats live. There is something deeply moving about a hunter that can vanish into grass and then appear again in a single bound. Small, quiet, and full of nerve, the caracal reminds us that power does not always come with size. Sometimes it comes with patience, precision, and a pair of ears that catch the world before we do. Think of the last time you sat in a quiet room and heard a branch snap outside. In a forest like this, that little sound can mean everything. One wrong step, one flash of fear, and the whole day can turn. Then, from the green shadows, a dark shape moves with the easy confidence of something that knows every path, every tree, every hidden danger. These are chimpanzees, and they live in the forests of Central Africa, where life is busy, noisy, and always a little tense. They are our close relatives in the animal world, and they can be playful one minute, fierce the next. Watch them long enough, and you start to see a world that feels strangely familiar. Here, there is thinking, planning, friendship, and conflict. And yes, there is danger too. Chimpanzees are smart enough to read a moment before it happens, and that gives them a real edge in a forest that never gives much away. A chimpanzee's body tells you a lot before it even moves. It has long arms built for climbing, strong hands with fingers that can grip a branch like a tool, and a face that can seem almost human one moment and deeply wild the next. The coat is usually dark, thick and rough-looking, more like a worn winter jacket than a sleek animal's fur. But there is power under that scruffy look. Their shoulders are strong, their legs are quick, and their eyes are sharp. They can swing through the trees, walk on the ground, and change direction in an instant. Their hands are especially impressive. They can pick fruit, strip leaves, crack open hard foods, and handle sticks with real skill. A chimp's face is full of expression too. You can often read mood right there. A relaxed mouth, a worried stare, a wide, silent grin that is not always friendly. Every day is a search for food, but not in a simple way. Chimpanzees eat fruit, leaves, seeds, and other plant foods, and they spend a lot of time moving through the forest to find what is ripe and ready. They do not rush like a deer or stalk like a cat. Instead, they watch, listen, and remember. They know which trees are worth visiting and when to return. They also use tools. A chimp may fish for termites with a stick or use a sturdy branch to reach food that would otherwise stay out of reach. That kind of problem-solving makes them stand out. They are not just surviving by instinct alone, they are figuring things out. And that is part of what makes watching them so compelling. One moment they may be resting in the shade, grooming one another, picking through fur with careful fingers. The next, they may be on the move, heading through the canopy with purpose, or gathering on the ground where fruit trees are heavy with food. Their world is built around choices, and those choices matter. Chimpanzee family life is full of both warmth and tension. They live in groups, but it is not a simple, peaceful crowd. Relationships shift, friends stay close, rivals keep score. Mothers are at the center of a young chimp's early life, carrying, feeding, and protecting their babies for years. A young chimp learns by watching, just like a child does. It copies, practices, and slowly grows into the habits of the group. Grooming is a big part of that life. It calms nerves, strengthens bonds, and keeps the social world tied together. Calls echo through the forest too. Some are soft and low, others are sharp and urgent. These sounds help the group stay connected when the trees close in and sightlines vanish. There is tenderness here, but also discipline. A chimpanzee group can be caring and cooperative one moment, then tense and aggressive the next. That mix is part of what makes them so powerful to observe. Chimpanzees matter far beyond the trees they climb. They help spread seeds as they travel, and that means they play a big part in helping the forest renew itself. They are also a sign of a healthy woodland. When chimps are doing well, it usually means the forest still has enough food, cover, and room to breathe. But they face real pressure from habitat loss and hunting in many places. Forests are shrinking, and that makes life harder for animals that need space and trees. The hopeful part is that protected areas and research projects are helping in some regions, giving chimpanzees a better chance than they once had. In the deep green of the forest, a chimpanzee can seem almost like a memory of our own past. And maybe that is why they stay with us. They remind us that intelligence is not just about us, and that the forest still has many voices worth hearing. Now picture a late afternoon in the forest, when the light starts to fade and every shadow grows long. A group of chimpanzees is feeding in the upper branches. Below them, the ground is alive with motion. A rustle, a pause, then another. A young chimp freezes and looks down. Nearby, a monkey family gives a quick burst of alarm and scatters into the leaves. The whole forest seems to hold its breath. Then the chimps begin to move. Fast, one climbs higher, another drops to a lower branch. A mother reaches for her youngster and pulls it close. The tension is sudden, but it is not chaos. It is practiced survival. Everyone here knows the rules. There is food to be won, space to be guarded, and danger always close by. As the moment passes, the forest settles again. Leaves sway, birds call. The chimpanzees drift back into the green, and the day goes on, carrying with it the quiet lesson of this place. In a living forest, intelligence is not just power, it is a way to keep going. If a tank could wear armor and still manage to look like it had stepped out for a muddy stroll, that would come close to a black rhino. The first thing you notice is not grace, it is mass, strength, and a sort of stubborn determination in every step. Out on the dry country of Damaraland, where the land can seem empty at first glance, this animal moves through the heat like a living boulder with a pulse. The black rhino lives here in scattered places across Africa, in scrub and open woodland where thorn bushes scratch at the wind. And though it seems built for power, its real talent is endurance. It can survive where food and water are never easy to find, and that makes every day a test. At first glance, the black rhino looks almost comical in its bulk. But there is nothing funny about the life it leads. Its body is covered in thick grey skin that folds and creases like heavy old leather, and that skin is tougher than it appears, built to take bites from thorny branches as it feeds. The head is carried low, with two horns rising from the snout like blunt spears. The front horn is usually the longer one, and it is the tool that gives the rhino its name and its fearsome reputation. But the rhino's eyes are small, almost shy, and that gives it a curious mix of power and caution. It may look like a brute, yet it depends on smell and hearing far more than sight. Even its lips tell a story. They are pointed and flexible, made for reaching into brush and plucking leaves, shoots and twigs one by one. There is nothing dainty about the way it feeds. It works methodically, moving through the shrubs and small trees with surprising control. In the heat of the day, it can stand in the shade of a thorn tree, ears flicking, as if listening to a world only it can hear. Much of its time is spent feeding, and that feeding matters. Black rhinos browse, which means they eat leaves and woody plants rather than grass. They use their hooked upper lip like a pair of tongs, pulling down branches and stripping away the parts they want. This habit shapes the land around them. By trimming bushes and opening up dense patches of scrub, they help keep the habitat varied. Smaller animals can then use those openings for cover, travel, or fresh growth. The rhino also has to plan its day around the hard facts of heat and scarcity. It needs to find water and keep moving between feeding places, especially when the ground turns dry and brittle. That means long walks, careful choices, and a lot of patience. Nothing about its life is rushed. Even so, trouble can come fast. A rhino must stay alert for danger, and in the modern world, that danger has often come from people. Black rhinos were heavily reduced by hunting and poaching, especially for their horns. In some places, protection has helped numbers recover, and that gives real hope. Rangers, monitoring teams, and protected areas have made a difference, but the pressure has not disappeared. The black rhino tends to live alone, and that suits its cautious nature. Adults often keep to their own paths, meeting only briefly, while mothers stay close to their calves. A young rhino can remain with its mother for a long time, learning the routes to water, the best feeding spots, and which places are safe to pass through. Communication is subtle: a snort, a puff, a scrape of the foot, a turn of the head. These small signals matter in a world where every encounter can carry risk. When two rhinos meet, there can be tension, especially between adults that do not want to share space. But there is also a quiet kind of understanding. Each one gives the other room. In that way, the black rhino lives by a simple rule: keep moving, keep feeding, keep watch. It matters more than people often realize. Without browsers like this, scrubland can change in ways that affect many other animals. The black rhino helps shape its home just by eating, and in doing so, it leaves behind a landscape that can support more life. Out here, that is no small thing. The black rhino may seem like a creature built from stubbornness alone, but there is something almost gentle in the way it moves through the heat, one careful step at a time. You get the feeling it has been here a long while and hopes to stay. If a gazelle could lace up running shoes, it still might not outrun what comes next. Out on the Serengeti, speed can feel like a magic trick, but it only works when the timing is perfect. One blink, one stumble, one wrong step in the grass. Then the chase is on. This is the world of the cheetah, the fastest land hunter on Earth, built for sudden bursts of speed and split-second decisions. It lives across open plains and dry scrub, where every shadow can hide danger and every meal has to be earned the hard way. And yet, for all that speed, the cheetah spends much of its life in quiet patience. It waits, it watches, it listens. Those long legs, that lean body, and that steady gaze all tell the same story. This cat survives by reading the landscape better than almost anything else around it. A cheetah is a slim, graceful cat with a small head, high shoulders, and a coat covered in black spots. Those spots are not just for show, they help break up its outline in the grass. The fur is short and rough to the touch, and the whole body looks built by a wind that never stops moving. Even the face has its own special look, with dark lines running from the eyes down toward the mouth like tears. Those marks may help cut the glare of the sun, almost like nature gave it built-in sunglasses. The tail is long and thick, with dark rings near the end. It works like a balancing pole when the cat turns at full speed. There is no heavy muscle bulk here, no oversized jaws, no lazy power. Everything about the cheetah says lean, light, and fast. That body shape comes with a cost. It is not made for a long fight or a wrestling match. It needs open ground, a clear path, and enough space to launch into a blur of motion. In the heat of the day, the cheetah often rests in the shade of a low bush or a small rise in the land. It saves energy. It has to. A chase can burn through strength in seconds. When it hunts, it does not roar in and charge blindly. It scans the grass for the weak, the separated, the distracted. A young gazelle, a lone impala, an animal that has drifted just far enough from the safety of the group. Then it creeps forward, low to the ground, almost floating through the grass. The body stays tense but controlled, and when the moment is right, it explodes. In just a few heartbeats, the cheetah can turn a calm field into chaos. The paws barely seem to touch the earth. The tail whips for balance. The head stays low. It is one of the most thrilling sights on the plains, but even then, the job is not finished. The cheetah must trip its prey or force it into a sharp turn, then clamp down quickly before another thief arrives. That is the hard part, because speed alone does not guarantee a meal. Lions, hyenas, and even vultures all wait for a mistake. The cheetah often loses hard-won food to bigger, meaner competitors. So it must eat fast, stay alert, and keep moving. That is life here. Always one eye on the hunt, one eye on the horizon. Family life for a cheetah is a mix of closeness and caution. Mothers usually raise the cubs alone. The young stay hidden in tall grass, brush, or rocky cover while their mother hunts. She brings them food when she can, but she also has to protect them from lions, hyenas, and jackals. In the first months, those cubs are tiny and vulnerable. They learn by watching. They practice pouncing on insects and stalking each other through the grass. As they grow, the mother teaches them how to move quietly, how to freeze, and how to read danger before it arrives. Brothers often stay together after they leave their mother. They form small coalitions that help them hold territory and hunt more successfully. Females, by contrast, usually live more on their own, except when raising young. This is not a noisy, social cat like a lion pride. It is a quieter life, more private, more exposed. Calls are soft. Purring, chirping, and low sounds carry between mother and cub. Those sounds matter when every hidden movement could mean danger. The cheetah matters because it keeps the grassland in motion. By hunting the weak and the wary, it helps shape which animals survive and which ones do not. That keeps prey herds alert and healthy. It also gives the plains some of their drama, because few scenes are more electric than a cheetah turning stillness into speed. But cheetahs today face shrinking habitat, conflict with people, and fewer safe places to live. In some areas, conservation programs and protected lands are helping them hang on. That hope matters because this cat is more than a runner. It is a living reminder that patience can be as powerful as force. And when it finally moves, the whole plain seems to hold its breath. Then the grass settles again. The sun keeps burning down, and somewhere out there, the cheetah is already watching the next moment begin. The forest goes quiet in a way that feels almost holy. Damp leaves hold the last light, a breeze moves through the canopy with a soft, hushed sound. And somewhere ahead, in that green maze of shadows, a pair of dark eyes is already watching. Baboons live here in the forests of Central Africa, where food, danger, and family life are all tangled together. They are smart, social, and always alert. One wrong step can bring trouble fast. But in a place like this, being quick-witted can matter just as much as being strong. If you've enjoyed this journey through the forest, leave a hello in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Baboons are impossible to mistake once you get a good look. Their long faces, heavy shoulders, and powerful hands give them a very human feel from a distance, but they are built for a far rougher life than ours. A baboon's body is lean and muscular, made for climbing, running, and grabbing. Their fur is usually a dusty grey or brown, which helps them slip into the forest light and shadow. Some have a kind of wild mane around the neck and shoulders, making them look larger than they really are. And then there is that face. Strong jaws, sharp teeth, curious eyes. Everything about them seems made for reading the world quickly. Their hands are especially useful. They can pick fruit, strip bark, and hold onto branches with surprising skill. Their feet work almost like extra hands too, giving them a steady grip on rough ground and tree limbs. When a baboon moves, it does not seem clumsy or random. It looks purposeful, like a traveler who knows every bend in the road. Baboons spend much of the day searching for food. They eat fruits, seeds, roots, leaves, and small animals when they get the chance. In a forest like this, that kind of flexible diet is a real advantage. If one food source dries up or disappears, they can turn to something else. That flexibility helps them survive when the forest changes with the seasons. They are also keen foragers. They turn over leaves, inspect fallen logs, and test whatever they find with careful hands and quick mouths. Nothing is wasted unless it has to be, and nothing is approached carelessly. A baboon is always checking the ground, the branches, and the air around it for signs of trouble. Even while feeding, it keeps one eye on the world. That vigilance is part of daily life here. The forest may look calm to us, but for baboons it is full of warnings and opportunities all at once. Family life is at the center of everything baboons do. They live in troops, sometimes large ones, where every animal has a place in the group. That social life gives them protection. More eyes mean more warning, more bodies mean more noise if danger appears. Young baboons stay close to their mothers at first, clinging tightly as the troop moves through the trees and along the forest floor. As they grow, they learn by watching. They watch how adults feed, how they groom each other, how they react when a stranger appears. Grooming matters a great deal. It is more than just cleaning fur. It helps keep peace in the troop and strengthens bonds between individuals. You can think of it as a quiet form of friendship. Baboons also communicate constantly with body language, calls, and facial expressions. A stiff posture, a quick bark, a glance in the wrong direction, all of it can mean something. In a crowded troop, that kind of communication can keep the whole group moving together. And when danger comes, family ties can make the difference between panic and survival. Baboons matter because they help spread seeds through the forest after eating fruit. In that way, they carry life from one place to another. They are also an important meal for large hunters like leopards, so they sit right in the middle of the food chain. If baboons are doing well, it often says something good about the health of the forest around them. But like many forest animals, they feel pressure when trees are cut and wild places shrink. Keeping forests intact helps them, and it helps countless other creatures too. Just listen to that forest for a moment. Behind every call and rustle is a story of caution, cleverness, and family. And in baboons, that story feels very much alive. Deep in the forest, a sudden crack snaps the silence, a fruit drops, then another. A troop of baboons is feeding high in the trees, and all at once the mood changes. One youngster freezes. An adult gives a sharp bark, heads turn, bodies tense. Somewhere below, a leopard is there, unseen in the green shade. The baboons know it before we do. They crowd together, calling, shifting, climbing higher. The youngest hurry back to the safety of their mothers. No one runs wildly yet. They are waiting, measuring, listening. Then comes a quick burst of motion. Branches shake, leaves rain down, the leopard moves, and the baboons answer with a storm of noise, all teeth, voices, and nerve. The chase does not last long, but it is enough. The big cat slips back into cover. The troop settles, slowly, after the danger passes. One by one, the forest breathes again. And that is the hard truth here. Even smart animals must stay alert every single minute. Think about a road crossing at rush hour, only the road is a river, and the traffic is made of thousands of nervous hooves. At the edge of the Mara, the air feels hot and tense, and every sound seems to carry twice as far. Then the first wildebeest steps in. Water splashes, a few more follow, and suddenly the whole riverbank comes alive. This is the Mara River crossing, one of the most famous and dangerous moments in the Great Migration. Each year, huge herds of wildebeest and zebra gather here, pulled forward by grass, rain, and instinct. They do not cross because it is easy. They cross because the plains behind them can no longer feed them. And on the far bank, the river is waiting with its own dangers. The water may look calm from a distance, but beneath it, life is already on the move. Crocodiles lie still in the current. The river is deep, the banks are steep. One shove, one slip, one sudden panic can turn the crossing into chaos. But the herd keeps coming. One body after another, head down, breath held, hope and fear moving together in the same rush of water. The low hum of the wind fades out, and for a moment the whole world feels still. You can almost smell dust, wet grass, river water, and the faint trace of blood carried far on the breeze. That is the Serengeti, and so many other places like it across Africa, beautiful, harsh, and always changing. We have followed warthogs, lionesses, hyenas, hippos, crocodiles, giraffes, cheetahs, desert elephants, black rhinos, and even a puff adder through landscapes where every step matters. We have seen how life depends on speed, caution, strength, patience, and a little luck. Out here, no creature stands alone for long. Hunters shape the land, prey shape the hunters, and everything is tied together by water, weather, and time. Human hands can wound these places, but they can also help protect them through parks, ranges, and careful choices. If this journey moved you, please like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and tell us in the comments which animal stayed with you the most. Until next time, keep looking out at the world. There is always more wonder waiting just beyond the horizon.